Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
What's up, everybody? It's producer Walker Vreeland. Just here to remind you that I Don't Need an Acting Class is now sponsored by WeAudition.com. WeAudition.com is a full-service platform for actors. So basically everything you need to audition virtually can be found on this website, including highly rated professional readers. And that will set your audition apart, let me tell you. So if you sign up today and use the code Acting Class, all one word, get 25% off. The subscription is normally $10 a month, which is already very cheap and very reasonable. But again, if you sign up today and use the code Acting Class, get 25% off. Enjoy the show. Welcome to I Don't Need an Acting Class with Milton Justice.
There is always this question about choices. I thought I would go back through the rough draft of my book and do, that find function where you look up a word. And so I decided to look up the word choice. And it hadn't even occurred to me. I was blown away how many times the word choice appears in my yet-to-be-published book. So I know it's an issue, and I know it's an issue for all of us, and I know that it's something that kind of hangs over us. And I thought it would be interesting just at the beginning of class for us to revisit this idea and figure out what we go through, what we think about, how we shop, in a sense, for choices, and even how you know it's a good choice, or how you respond to it because you think it's a good choice. I even have a chapter in the book called How Do I Know I'm Making the Right Choice? And it's not helpful. I read it because you don't. I mean, I hate to say this. Look, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The shopping is so important, the looking around for things. Another thing that Marlon says, in this class we call him Marlon, is that you want to make a choice. You want to make choices that stop the movement of the hand from the bag of popcorn to the mouth. And I love that image. I mean, it's such an interesting image because it's saying, I know what people normally do when they're in the cinema. They only go, main reason I go is to buy the popcorn. But if an actor is so interesting and stops that movement, then that's a choice. So I think a lot of it has to do with the idea that you have to know. And I mean, the more I think about it, Stella says your talent is in your choices. And I think at some particular point, that is the talent. I mean, somewhere down the line, the fact that you know that that's a good choice tells you something about your ability. And there are a lot of things that go into it. And what Greg was talking about was absolutely true, is that he knew he didn't want to make a cliched choice. That's one of the things. I mean, look, so many of these rules that we have are really non-existent rules. But one of the rules is that your first choice is almost always a cliche. I mean, obviously, that's not true. It's not, but often it is. It's like the first choice you make. I always think it's like the first choice you make, you say, okay, good. I got that out of the way. Now what? Which was oddly enough exactly what Greg did. he got sitting in the back of the bus using a different water fountain out of the way. Those are the things that you knew from movies. Those are the things that you knew from TV shows, which is where most choices come from and most cliches are born. So then it means that you keep digging. And you keep digging, and that's where the research comes in. Also, you have to understand, Greg has been working on this character for a long time. He keeps adding information. It's not like you can pick up a piece of text and decide right away. I mean, all of you have been absolutely digging and digging and digging. I mean, Kareem and I have been working on the same part for a year. Teo is going around absolutely beating himself to death because he couldn't make sense out of this character. So it's like you fight. It doesn't make sense. I hate this choice. And then one day you like the choice. And then all of a sudden it comes to life and you come to life with it and it comes to life. There's a note that I noticed in the book that amused me, which was knowing you have a bad choice is a little bit like being in a bad relationship. Somehow or another, you just know it. It's not a surprise. You just kind of know this is a bad relationship. And I always kind of think you think the same thing about choices. I'm so negative and cynical. I should have said, when it's the right relationship. So, that certainly is an issue. I would say it's a very good idea to go back to a very, very fundamental thing about choices. It, first of all, needs to be appropriate to the text. And let's expand text to include the world that you're in. The time that you're in, the given circumstances, if you will, if we can use a technical term. But it's just this world that we're in. And so the more I know about this world, the more that the world helps me come up with choices. It's almost like it begins to tell me. It gives you something. It's like all of it gives you this grounding that says, I can make choices based in this period. Justine is working on a character from the 60s who's in New York. Believe it or not, Justine and I did a whole session on Woolworth's department store. All of those things begin to help you cobble together this picture of things that give you places to go to make choices. So kind of the first rule of thumb is that it needs to be appropriate both to the text, the world, and the play you're in. And that begins to tell you certain things that you need to know about your play. You don't want to make choices that come out of the world that are not fitting into the play, that are not appropriate to the play. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's step one. Step two is you want to pay a price for it. You want to earn the choice. And what happens when you pay the price for it is that I believe it. And this is a really important issue. You can make any choice you want, but if you don't believe it, if I don't believe it, then it's not a legitimate choice. It's an academic choice. It's a choice for an essay. It's a choice that you're doing on a paper you're writing on the period. You cannot just make a choice that there was an old dying woman at the concentration camp I liberated. Because even by the way I'm saying it, you know that there is no old woman. She wasn't dying and there's no concentration camp. So as soon as you make the choice, it's a great choice. I might even say the old woman reminded me of my grandmother. But all of that, these are all choices. But unless you earn that choice, unless I believe that choice, it's useless. So that's a really important part of it, that you must earn it. Now, the technique that we're working on is helpful. That's why we're in class. We're in class so that we can begin to figure out what the process is, what the craft is, what the technique is for making our choices believable.
I Don't Need an Acting Class is hosted and created by Milton Justice. Senior producer is me, Walker Vreeland, and director of online media is Evan Sollers. Music by Jeffrey Keyser Trio, May This Be Love, from their album On My Way to You. If you have a moment, please rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find us. And if you would like to send an email, if you have a question for Milton, you can do so at questionsformilton@gmail.com. Another way to get in touch is on Instagram at I Don't Need an Acting Class. It's brought to you by WeAudition.com, a full-service online platform for actors. And if you sign up and use the code ActingClass, get 25% off. Again, get 25% off when you use the code ActingClass. Again, the website is WeAudition.com. Have a fabulous week, everybody, and we will see you back here next time.